One of the main goals of the Wisdom of Odin when I started it is to simply share my journey as a Norse pagan throughout this world and throughout the years now. And so part of that is now becoming what's it like to be a Norse pagan YouTuber as well and share with you some of the experiences I'm having. And so today I have an interesting one that has been kind of building for a while, I guess. So ever since the Wisdom of Odin has reached a certain level of popularity, I get a lot of promotional requests from people to promote their works here on the channel. And 99% of the time, none of the works have anything to do with Norse paganism, or if they do, they're from very, very corporate places that have nothing to do with the faith, nor do they care about the faith, they care about money. And so typically I ignore a majority of these requests, and I would get, let's say I get several every week. I've even gotten Raid Shadow Legends. So no, I turned down Raid Shadow Legends and they're big money. So because I just don't want to be in the middle of talking about Odin. And all of a sudden I'm like, you know what I want to talk about today? Raid Shadow Legends. And here's this giant script of things I have to say to get this money. And so something happened recently and I decided to follow it just because I was interested with something unique. And it definitely makes me want to talk about the rise of corporate paganism. So this is just kind of like a vlog to start a conversation to make sure you're kind of aware of this thing that's kind of happening. Paganism has gotten very popular lately, and it's really exciting in some regards because, you know, it's more easy to find information. More people are doing research. It's more profitable to do research on Norse mythology and Norse paganism. And so there are benefits to this, but there is also a darker side and a downside to this. And that is this rise of very corporate products of trying to get our money. I mean, just quite frankly, we have a good amount of money as a pagan community. We might not realize it, but you know, even just like a little thing with like YouTube, like my RPM or CRM or whatever it is, basically the amount of money I get per 1,000 views is pretty good. I mean, I definitely don't get rich off of it. You know, I get like $400 a month. I mean, I have no problem telling you that because it's not a lot of money. But if you look at the CRM or whatever of a gaming channel, it's in the pennies, whereas the CRM of a pagan channel is fairly decent because the people, the audience, have a decent amount of money according to the algorithm machines. And YouTube is not the only people that know that, and they're not the only corporation that knows that. And so that's why we see a lot of jewelry, a lot of clothing makers, a lot of, you know, Viking shields and axes and, you know, and just Viking media in general that are very, very corporate because they care about your money. And sorry for you guys out there, a lot of the beard products out there are from very, very, very corporate companies that only care about the money. They don't actually care about your beard or the Vikings or anything. They just care that Vikings make money and beards make money. And this is the nature of the world. I mean, money makes the world go. I mean, obviously this channel runs on money and, you know, I wouldn't be able to continue to do it if I didn't have the support of everyone on Patreon. But it's so hard to tell the difference between something that is corporate and dishonest about actually caring about a subject matter and just wants the money of it, and then the people that actually care about the subject matter and need money to survive and make their living off of this. So essentially what happened was I was reached out by a book publisher and they wanted to wanted me to write a book. And they wanted me to write a book on runes. And so since they specifically mentioned runes, I was like, okay, this isn't just some generic message. Maybe this is something to actually worth digging into. Now, the person I talked to was very, very nice. You know, I had a video call with them. And the company, I will leave out of this because I'm not here to slander a company. I'm not here to slander the person that I talked to. I'm here to talk about what is happening with corporate paganism. And so within this meeting, I was told, you know, and I had ideas going into this meeting. Oh, it would be really cool to write a rune book. I would love to write a rune book. I feel like I've been exploring Galder, which is something that's not written in book form very much. You know, and there's a lot of rune books out there. And so I would love to talk about something like Galder. I would talk about my personal experiences of the runes, maybe, you know, put in there some of the things I was taught from the person that taught me the runes because it's very unique. But that's not what this company wanted. This company wanted me to be a content writer. They wanted me to basically write a generic crap about the runes. They wanted me to basically regurgitate everything that has ever been said about them so that they could make money off of the runes. Because they have an algorithmic machine, a data miner. Now, you know, these are the things they told me. They have a data miner that basically scans the internet and scans people's interests, scans book interest, and sees where people have interest and while there is a lack of content about them. And so like the runes, for instance, I guess don't have a lot of books written about them, but there's high interest in them. So they were like, we need to write a book about runes because this algorithm told us to. And so then they basically send that out and they say, okay, we need to find someone to write about runes. And that's why they came to the channel and they said, oh, well, have Jacob write about the runes. my chances of doing this now are low, isn't it? If I'm revealing this out here, but I kind of I wanted to expose this a little bit because it's soulless. You know, like not necessarily the people that write this, like whoever ends up writing this thing. I'm not saying that they don't actually care about the runes, like the actual writer of it, but the idea behind it is so soulless and corporate that there's nothing left for any rooms of interpretation. There's nothing left for any personality. What they wanted me to do, they only wanted me to write half a book. They've already written the other half of the book, and they only wanted me to write the first like 4 or 5 chapters, and then the last chapter as well. And they basically wanted me to just regurgitate what have already been written within other works. And I even kind of pushed and said, well, I kind of like to do Galder stuff. I want to, infuse some of my personal experiences. And they basically told me, no, you can't infuse personal experiences. If you could, it was like the very end, you can infuse personal stuff. But what they wanted was generic information. And there is a place for basic information, but not, regurgitated information, not regurgitated content. Now, let's say the person that does take this role, again, I'm not saying that person's a bad person or a bad pagan or a bad believer in the runes or bad practitioner of the runes, but they are getting fucked. So the deal they were going to try to give me is a terrible, terrible deal. So you would only have 2 months to write this book, 60 days to write this book. They have a week-by-week layout of how you're going to write it and what you're going to write. And they require you to write a certain word count per chapter. They had exact words written down of how much they wanted for chapter 1. It was like 2,075. That's what they want. And they did provide an editor, which I guess is nice, and they provided someone to design the cover. But in the end, they said you would need to get 40 of your friends and non-family members to write reviews of this book. They would get a free digital copy, but they wanted them to write positive reviews. And then they wanted me to get 3 expert reviewers to then review it. And then from what I gathered, this is when I would get money. This is when I would get paid. And the payment for this was only $3,000. Now, $3,000 at first when I heard it, I was like, well, I mean, $3,000 would help me, help me pay some bills, maybe allow me to do a little bit more in Europe when I'm there. But at the same time, $3,000 for 60 days of work, and strenuous work at that. This book was supposed to be 200 pages long, and so I'd be writing a little bit more than half of it, so probably about 120 pages worth of content for $3,000 is not a lot of money, mostly because you get 0 royalties from this. So anyone who does write this, and it seemed like this was a set in stone, this was non-negotiable, you were getting a lump sum of $3,000 and you were going to get no royalties. And basically they were just using honestly the channel to promote it as well. So I was giving them free promotion for something I wrote. And then I would receive no benefit from it. And again, the way they worded it, it seemed like I wouldn't get the money unless I promoted it as well. Or at the very least wouldn't have gotten people to review. They did say they would give me an additional $1,000 to promote it on my channels for 6 weeks. And again, I didn't dig into specifics because I would have to have signed an NDA to do that, and then I couldn't have made this video about it. And so 6 weeks of promotion is a lot of promotion. I don't even do that for the gathering videos. I haven't even done that for the hall yet. Things that I like so passionately care for, and they want me to do 6 weeks of promotion for an additional $1,000 for something I make no royalties on. So, I mean, again, some people might say, well, I'll do it for $3,000. I'll write a rune book for $3,000. But I'm telling you right now, as someone who's worked as a freelancer outside of just the Wisdom of Odin, this is a terrible, terrible deal. Terrible. So not only is it taking advantage of Norse paganism and people interested in the runes and people interested in paganism because it wants them to buy this book, it's taking advantages of the people writing the book as well. This is literally fucking over people who write content and people who create for Norse paganism. So it's really screwing paganism and people that believe in the runes on both ends. And so this gets me a little heated, honestly, because I feel like it is really taking advantage of a really beautiful, wonderful religion just to make money off of it. And so I wouldn't just complain about this online to complain about it. Again, this is a little bit of a PSA, I guess. Really just be careful what content you buy. Look up the publisher, look up who is actually creating this work, look up who is actually writing it, who is producing it, and see, and even contact the writer. I mean, they probably have to sign an NDA from most of these companies saying that you can't talk badly about them, which is also suspicious. But I would just be very careful going forward. And I mean, really, this has been going on for a while, I'm sure. When you purchase books online, make sure it's written from someone that actually cares about the faith and is getting a good deal out of it. Same thing with getting works, again, like my Mjolnir. I've had this Mjolnir for years now. And it was made by someone, like I've talked to the guy. I talked to Tyler McCormick, Weird Core, Bloodforge. He's still making stuff. This is what he does for a living. This is how he feeds his family and keeps a roof over his head. And so I am glad to have spent the extra money on this Mjolnir. And again, I don't want to tell anyone's wrong, because I've had a corporate crap Mjolnir, and I'm sorry if you do as well. I'm not saying you're a bad person, but really consider getting something that supports a craftsman in the faith, or at least that has real interest and love for what they're doing. But the only way to keep these corporate people from doing this is to stop them making money. And the only reason they're doing this is because they're making money. And so, yeah, it's a hard conversation, because no one's perfect. I'm not perfect. No one is going to be 100% perfect, 100% able to support the community, 100% not able to buy generic crap. I'm just saying, if you can and have the ability to, try to. Because I really want to make sure it's clear that these corporate companies, like the one I just talked to, do not care about you. They do not care about our faith. They do not care about the runes. They don't care about me, the Wisdom of Odin, anything. They care about money. And they are taking it from both ends, both from the pockets of the people writing their content and the pockets of people buying the books because they legitimately care about something. Yeah, again, I guess this is more of a PSA vlog of what to look out for as paganism continues to grow in popularity, which is amazing. It's amazing that so many people are taking that step into the more traditional first world religions, or just the older religions, or at least the more new age understandings of how these work. And are living more in peace with nature, more a part of communities, more part of gods that really teach us lessons. These are great and wonderful things, but with that has come the corporate greed that wants to make money off of us. Again, we're never going to be 100% perfect. They've made money off of me. I have bought generic crap before, but at the same time, definitely after having this interview, I'm going to be a little bit more cautious, because once again, they are screwing us at both ends, both in the people that make these things and the people that purchase these things. Again, I feel like I kind of need to end this because it's a little bit of a rant, but I worry, because I've been screwed over before as a freelancer back when I did photography. I worked for some very big companies. I've worked for a couple of really big Hollywood companies before. The biggest thing I did was bands. I did a lot of band photography, and I did an entire music festival, because I just got into it and I felt like I wasn't worth the money. An entire music festival, multiple days, for $500, because I needed the money and I needed the street cred. But $500 was taking advantage of me. They were a multi-million-dollar music festival, and they paid me $500 to take pictures of multiple bands. Now, it was cool. I did get to meet bands, and those are some of my favorite stories. But I got paid $500 for multiple hours of work. And I didn't get paid from that for weeks. And again, this is the same way this book deal would work. I wouldn't get paid this actual money for months, most likely, if ever. Just be cautious out there. And this is definitely for content creators too, people that create things. Be careful, be cautious. If you need to, I do keep an eye on my Instagram messages, or keep an eye on my emails. If you need me to kind of scour through your contracts, if I can legally do that. But this is something I really care for. So, if you are a creator and you feel like you are maybe getting screwed over by something, feel free to email me, and I will try to read it over and see if I would take the deal or give you any advice or something that, again, I'll give you as much advice as I'm legally able to give you, because I don't want you to get screwed over. Because a lot of these big companies out here, they just want your money and the people's money that they're trying to promote to. All right, so I'm gonna end this rant. Again, I just wanted to make sure you were aware of this. Hopefully it was an eye-opening conversation and understanding that, again, people really want your money and they want to screw over the creators to make money. So thank you very much, and until the hall, Skull.
Try.